On the very western edge of Berks County sits Christ Lutheran Church in Stouchburg. This stone church was built in 1786 and most well known for being the location of the grave of Regina Leininger. Her story doesn't begin in Berks County. In 1755, 9-year-old Regina was living along Penns Creek near what is now Selinsgrove, Pennsylvania. The Appalachian Mountains were somewhat of the Wild West of the colonial period. Hazardous terrain, along with Indian tribes that were less than enthusiastic about colonial settlers, made these regions a precarious place to live in. The Leininger family arrived in America in 1748 from Reutlingen, Germany, and quickly settled in this region. On October 16, 1755, Regina's family was caught in the Penns Creek Massacre, which is now considered the beginning of the French and Indian War. Her father, Sebastian Leininger, and brother were murdered on the spot. Regina and her 12-year-old sister Barbara were taken captive by the natives. Only their mother, also named Regina, and another brother were spared, as they had gone to the mill and were not home at the time of the raid. The girls, along with other captive children, hiked through the wilderness for weeks until they reached an Indian village in what is now Ohio, and were split up as slaves amongst various natives. In 1759, Barbara managed to escape her captivity with another girl and boy. After 2 weeks of walking in the Pennsylvania wilderness, they reached Fort Pitt, a major British fort in the war, the site of which is now Pittsburgh. Then they trekked all the way to Philadelphia to tell of their experiences. After the war ended, rogue groups of defeated natives were still traversing Penn's forest. In 1764, Colonel Henry Bouquet had discovered a group of white captives. Regina's mother got word of the freed captives and made her way to Carlisle to search for her daughters. Due to nearly a decade passing, many of the captives, who were now adults, had lost touch with their culture and only spoke the Indian language. Regina would have been a woman of 18 years, and the two did not recognize each other. Legend is that Colonel Bouquet suggested to the mother that she sing a song the girl may recognize from her childhood. The mother began to sing the German hymn, Allein und doch nicht ganz, allein bin ich in meiner Einsamkeit, which translates to, alone and yet not quite alone am I, in this my solitude. As she did, Regina ran to her and began to sing along, and the two were reunited at last. Some other fabricated details, including both an Indian and English lover, have embellished the story over the decades for the sake of a good campfire tale. There has also been some confusion regarding Regina's identity. Up until the early 1900s, it was believed that her name was Regina Hartman, as there was a family massacred shortly after the Leiningers that fit the same description. Only 2 months after reuniting, the mother and daughter made the journey to Philadelphia to meet the Reverend Henry Muhlenberg so that Regina could relay her fantastic story. Muhlenberg wrote a detailed account in his February 1765 journal, which gave us the closest to the truth we may get involving Regina's experience. However, this journal only began to be published widely in the first half of the 20th century, which led to the discovery of the mistaken identity. Barbara married and ended up in what is now Lancaster County, but it is unclear if she ever knew of her mother and sister's whereabouts less than 30 miles to the north. She is buried at Allegheny Union Cemetery in Alleghenyville, Brecknock Township. The mother and daughter Reginas lived together for the rest of their lives. Neither ever married, and it is not exactly known where they eventually settled and why both are buried at the Christ Lutheran Church near Stouchburg.